let's talk about them what we teased going to the break, and that is TJ Finley again. Brody Miller in the Athletic great write up. He's talking to Finley about what comes next. I don't know about y'all. I don't know that I'm president of the TJ Finley fan club, but I felt like a bit of a TJ Finley truther last year when I was trying to like kind of bang the gavel and say, look, his performance was actually really not that different from Max Johnson. The games where he sucked, the O-line was absolutely horrible. Like, I'd be fascinated to imagine that situation. Okay, obviously, Max and Miles did seem to separate a bit after the season, during spring and everything. But I still think that TJ Finley is way better than a lot of people give him credit for, right? Like, I had a Bama friend yesterday texting, and he was like, this kid sucks. Why is Bama after him? And I'm like, no, dude, that's not true. But that is like kind of some of the narrative because of the 2-3 record, when really TJ Finley was like an afterthought to the recruiting class almost, right? He was not very highly rated coming out of high school, and now all of a sudden as a true freshman, he has 2 SEC wins under his belt at 18 years old. Even the Alabama game was a mixed bag of good and bad. He led a really nice drive at times. Like, that was all right. The Auburn game was really bad, and the who else was really bad? Who else got
A&M.
And A&M. Yeah, Auburn and A&M were not good. No doubt about that.
A&M was one of the worst offensive play football games you'll watch.
That's what I was going to say. And as much as, look, yes, the quarterback matters in that, and Finley definitely, you can't excuse him for that. Look, the offensive line was the root of all evil in both of those games. So I think TJ Finley's going to be really good. I think his time at LSU helped his stock immensely. What do you think? Like what's the market for Finley right now?
When you look at how many SEC games he started, like, you're not going to find that a lot of places having that experience because it was an all SEC schedule last year. And it's hard for me to sit here and hate on a true freshman with no like off season that we typically know. Like, it was just crazy, right? And he starts 5 games in the SEC. And yeah, there were some ebbs and flows without question, but that's from any freshman trying to play in a major conference. The talent is there. He has a skill set. Now, I do think that skill set doesn't fit what LSU wants to do and what Jake Peets wants to do. I don't think that skill set ever really matched up. But there's some places where I think he could thrive and be a solid starting quarterback. And yes, if it is in the SEC, I think you're talking about somewhere in the middle of the pack maybe. You look at an Arkansas team where they want to push the ball down the field. They like bigger quarterbacks. They like play action passes. They like the 18-yard dig route where TJ can step up and throw that ball. They don't
make all the throws.
Yeah, they don't do a lot of RPOs. Like Felipe Franks has concrete feet. It's okay. Yeah. Like, that's the type of quarterback that he is. I play with a couple of them. I know that. Right. That's what I'm saying. So a place like Arkansas, to me, it actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, you can't put a value on getting 5 games of SEC experience as a true freshman.
Yeah. I would love to see him at Mississippi State, to see him air it out. His arm talent, I think that's the first thing that I saw, like a big kid like that can make every throw. I would just let him see him gun it 60 times and see what happens after, just to feel uncomfortable. I think for me, when I was watching him last year, a lot of times he just seemed uncomfortable in the pocket.
Yep.
So I think if he can get into a system and an offensive line that can protect him, and he gets some receivers running down the field, he can make every throw. So I'm excited to see what's next for him.
I mean, that's the thing. I completely agree with you, Jeremy. It's like when he now I think the most times that he looked like a freshman, and this gets to any quarterback, but he obviously didn't do a good job really at all, I guess, of mitigating it. But yeah, when he got pressured, things went south. Now again, that's kind of like a quarterbacking golden rule, but the good ones, you learn to overcome a lot of that. He did not, but he was 18 years old. That doesn't matter as much to me. You develop that with time. You'll get that with experience. The fact that he could sit there, and if he was protected, he could pick apart a defense. I mean, look at what he did to that South Carolina defense. It was a clinic. It was dominant. And we're talking, and even Arkansas, a lot of people don't remember that game. Like, he was the reason why. Well, there's a few reasons why they ran the ball better. They had success on first and second down, but he was huge in those third and short situations where I think he finished something like 10 of 13 on third down against Arkansas, something wild, right? But and that was because he was protected and he had time. So. Yeah, man, if I'm an SEC team and I don't feel good about my quarterback room, I'm making a heavy run at Finley.
Yeah, there's a couple of places in the chat's asking why are Big 12 schools maybe not in on him. There's some schools that they don't look for the giant arm. They look for their quarterback, because of their team needs, is to be more accurate. They want to maybe throw the intermediate passes, their crossers, and those type of things. Yeah. Again, I don't think that's where he thrives. I think he thrives pushing the ball down the field, throwing every route as far as of 15-plus routes. He throws those even better than he throws the 6, 7, 8 yard routes. And so there's teams that still run that offense. Like Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher loves play action pass and throw the football down the field and take a shot. And that's what him and Jamarcus, they had a pretty good run together. I can see actually Texas A&M or Arkansas maybe being the best fit for him.
Yeah. When you say that, yeah, I could see that too. Those Big 12 schools, they throw a lot of quick screens, bubble screens and stuff. I don't think he could do that stuff, but I would rather see him in a big play action system and get receivers running downfield. I think that'd be good for him.
I wonder, I mean, if you're talking about old school play action, I mean, Mike Bobo at Auburn, that's like Mike Bobo is as kind of out of touch offensively as you can find. I hate that hire for Auburn, actually. Didn't like it at South Carolina last year. I don't want him to go to that, but, I mean, is Auburn, as far as SEC schools are concerned, is Auburn maybe the best? Auburn's reportedly making a big push. That's why I'm bringing it up. Maybe outside of my opinion, that doesn't matter.
We don't really know, but we don't know who Auburn's going to be because Mike Bobo has changed throughout his career. Last year, he was way too conservative with South Carolina.
It was horrible.
Will Muschamp brings him in. He goes and gets Colin Hill. They had Ryan Helinski, who had a high upside. They go get Colin Hill from Colorado State, and they basically run a 2006 offense. I mean, it was just uber conservative. It was not good, but Mike Bobo did have that time with Aaron Murray where they were tossing the pill around, and Aaron Murray was setting records at Georgia. I mean, Jeremy, you can speak to that. You played against that team, so I don't know who they're going to be. So it's hard for me to say TJ Finley might fit there because I don't know what Brian Harsin and Mike Bobo are going to come up with together because Brian Harsin is an offensive guy. We all know that. So what's that offense going to look like?
I don't know the full quarterback room at Auburn. But if Bo Nix is winning that job unequivocally, a quarterback room can't be that good. I mean, look, Bo Nix has talent. I'm not saying that he's got wheels. He's had some nice big moments. But he's just not. Quite frankly, I just don't know if he's that good. So it seems like there might be a path to play there for TJ, even if it's not immediately with Bo Nix. Maybe after. He did say though, I don't think he's going to wait. He told Brody Miller that his two main focuses, his number one is on development and the ability to play this year. So maybe he doesn't go SEC. Maybe he goes elsewhere. I think, though, he does go to a Power 5, right? Like, I mean, do we agree with that? I think he ends up in a Power 5 conference.
100%.
And
he's got the skill set to be a Power 5 quarterback. But real quick, Bo Nix played a full season last year, right?
Yeah.
12 touchdown passes. Miles Brendan played 3 games, 11 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean,
so Bo Nix is not like supplanted, or at least he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like if TJ transferred to Auburn and he becomes eligible and the SEC passes that rule, he is going to compete for that starting job without question.
Yeah.
I'd be and as far as TJ goes, I think you probably make that decision sooner rather than later, right? Like you want to make that decision before the summer.
Yeah, I think for him, he's the quicker if he could get there before summer enrollment.
Yeah.
And he can start getting in the offense, it'll only help him going into training camp because if he has to just learn it and all the other quarterbacks have been in that offense, it's going to be a little tougher for him. But I'm excited for him to see where he goes. I hope he stays in the SEC. I think that'd be good for him.
And then you also got to, so it's not just learning it right, it's the thing that Joe Burrow had to do. You got to learn new culture, new friends, new coaches. Like you got, there's a lot that's on that plate. But physically, you're not going to find many with the arm talent or the skill set that Finley's bringing to bear. But more so than physically, what I came away impressed with last year was the poise, right? Throwing a pick and then kind of immediately it doesn't matter and going forward. And I like the quotes that he had about the Auburn game where he just said it. He was like, yeah, man, the pressure that was my welcome to college moment. It was like they were throwing a bunch of different looks at me. They were getting to me. I held on to the ball too long. So he knows. He knows where it went wrong. And this decision to leave was not arrived at lightly either. He's very methodical and well thought out in how he approached it. Something else that I loved is that, and I can't find my sheet of paper with the quote on it, but he seemed to be a real big fan of Jake Peets. And in fact, going so far, they're still talking today, even though they just started to develop their relationship a couple of months ago. So I think that I think that Jake Peets. Okay, thank you, Jake. He says, praise for Peets. He was very good. He really was a student of Joe Brady, and I could tell he really paid attention to everything with Joe. He's a very sharp guy. He came in, had a chip on his shoulder, and wanted to get the job done. Me and Coach Jake still talk to this day because of the relationship they built, and later on, he goes on to say, when he's answered about Brandon Johnson, either one of them can play do very well in the system. Jake Peets is an amazing coach. Whoever gets to start now will be prepared to play. So, LSU, I love the Durante Jones hire. I like the Jake Peets hire. Early returns are pretty good here. All right, we've gone long. Let's go to break. When we get back, got more football talk with the boys here on Off the Mic.